Yes, sir.
Oh,
H.O.M.E. House of
yeah.
Melanated Excellence, and we're back with the living legend, the Black Dot, man. So we're gonna really dive into it right now. So what I really want us to do is to visualize uh uh a Wakanda, a real life Wakanda that takes place in our minds. And in that Wakanda, the Black Dot is our cultural prime minister. And as the cultural prime minister, we look to this individual to help guide us and point us in the right direction. And I think to do that, we first have to identify who we are as a people collectively and ultimately individually. So with that being said, what are we? Are we black? Are we African American? Are we melanated? Black Dot, what can you please lay down your perspective on who we are and why we should define ourselves in that manner?
That is super great premise to get this second chamber kicked off.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'll start by saying these are my humble opinions, and everyone can have a right to, put their perspective on it.
You're the prime minister. Whatever you say right now.
I'm saying,
Yeah,
so I'm the prime minister,
right.
and of this Wakanda. But what happened was a bunch of our people were removed from Wakanda, which is a paradise that we've always known, and are now supplanted in a foreign land, which their abilities to connect with the Wakanda that we come from is lost. So another aspect to see it is that I re-emerged in a new land under a new disguise. I'm still the prime minister of Wakanda,
right?
But in this foreign land, I gotta move as somebody else before I'm detected. Let's just, if we're gonna kick the imagination off, let's do it that way.
Yes, sir. Understood.
So with that being said, I'm trying to reconnect us with who we are as a culture, and we have been broken into so many splintered pieces. And each one of these groups that I come upon, the Israelites, the Moors, the Nation of Islam, the Nation of Gods and Earth, the Black nationalists, everyone has a piece to the puzzle. You know what I mean? But because we always kept divided and purposely divided and fighting amongst ourselves, we haven't had the ability to merge it and say we're above all of that. We are above names. Names is something that were given to us to define us by a group of people who just didn't understand that we was God. You know what I mean?
Right.
We didn't really give ourselves a name where there was no reason for. We just were.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So now here we are in a foreign land and trying to connect ourselves back to this Wakanda, which we didn't have a name. We just was the greatest. And we allowed others, foreigners,
yes,
you know what I'm saying, to label us and they are minute in number, let's just say that, but yet they have created these outlets of media control and so much to do the bidding for them and pay a lot of us a few pieces of silver to forget, or the gatekeepers. Let's talk about the gatekeepers.
Yes, sir.
Amongst us who do know who we are, but through their Masonic orders and seek other secret societies, they are paid a handsome sum to keep us confused and wandering. And the closer we get back to Wakanda, the more they step up, their attack to confuse us with viruses and bad water and chemtrails and movies that make us go the other way. And all of these things are taking place at the same time.
Right.
And in urban environment, what is embedded within our DNA is the code, right? So once the DNA starts restranding itself, even in a foreign land, is leading back to who we are.
Yeah.
So when music, art, dance, and all of these things begin to emerge within us, and we began to have conversations amongst ourselves and go, wait a minute, we're deeper than that. And here we are, and this is the stage that we are now, in a state of confusion trying to make our way back to the nameless or the formless or the point where we just were and didn't need titles to represent who we are. Let's just open it up there.
Yes, sir. Understood. Understood.
Okay. All right. So Black Dot. So do you think, with all this confusion, that's come up, and we're in this foreign land with all these different, I don't even know what you call them, supposed entities, leaderships, outlets that's supposed to be guiding us to, these truths, but they're not. Did these come about like the Israelites and all these other things? Did they come about as a true motive or way to get back to Wakanda, or were they, were they really just, what do you call it? I guess messed up from the jump.
Corrupted.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I think there's truth in all of the people amongst us who are at heart. Now, I'm not talking. Listen, when you join an organization, the reason I don't join an organization is because the organization starts out pure, organic, and you're here to learn and share, and then ego kicks in.
Yes. Yes.
Hierarchy becomes an issue, and who's getting the money and who's getting the fame and who's getting the acclaim. And then these organizations become stagnant because they are a place within the organization becomes the ones whose job is to the disagreeable spirits to ensure that we never put the pieces to the puzzle together. So I believe at heart with the Moors, the Israelites, all of the groups that we know of, they all know that we are greater than this. And when I speak of being in a foreign land, I'm not even talking about being in a physical foreign land because all the land mass is ours. We have been supplanted in another dimension. So it's not even a physical, that's too linear. Anywhere we move on the earth, we've been there before. So call that foreign. What I can call foreign is, the mindset of in the terrain that's unfamiliar. So we've been supplanted in another dimension. So dimension hopping, getting back to Wakanda is not a physical trek back to a landmass because that's just a reference point. It is a complete spiritual journey back to who we are and who we were. And in that process, we have become strictly confused because we think we earthbound beings.
Right.
We are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes.
And in that experience is going to be filled with ups and downs and this and that. But I am far deeper than all of this. So I cannot be destroyed, but I can be confused and disoriented once I lose my foundation. It's like being punched in the face real hard, and you turn around and you start fighting the referee. You ever see that?
Yeah.
Boxing. He gets punched in the face so hard, he starts squaring off against the referee. Because you've been disoriented. So, so the reason I don't get into debates with any of these groups because the group itself may have become toxic over the course of time, when ego, like we said, kicks in. But at the root of it, the science being taught, you know what I mean? And another thing, we're not all from the same bloodline.
Yes.
We're not all from the same planet, should I say? Or we not, you know what I mean? We come from so many different places. And dimension-wise, that the skin color just is an outer coat. So a lot of times we get confused because the open enemy, or what we perceive as the open enemy, we think we know who that is, but then we confused when the ones who look like us are doing the bidding of the open enemy. It confuses us.
Right.
Like, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
So we got to understand that this thing, when we unravel it, is deep, real deep. And we started out by saying culture is not a proximity anymore, that it is more of a mindset.
Yes.
So
yes.
of consciousness, and who we are, that is not just because my skin is melanated. It runs deeper than that, and that's what to me causing the chaos and confusion, or bits of the chaos and confusion.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So you're the prime minister, and normally in our ancient and cultural civilizations, there was a rite of passage, right? There was a process you had to go through in order to train the mind, body, and soul to be in alignment with the absolute, right? So you're the prime minister. You are creating the new renaissance of the rites of passage. What would you make the first prerequisite be for this rite of passage? What would you require an initiate or uh, a newbie per se? What would be the first thing you would say he would have to get in order to be recognized as a part of this particular culture?
Wow, that is a man. You guys be coming up with some amazing questions. So first and foremost, know thyself, right? And in
Okay.
order to know thyself, everyone's starting point is going to be a little bit different. Some of us know who we are. We've forgotten, and we only need a trigger. Something within us to trigger our great past, or it could be an arc. That's why we got to learn archetype symbols. You know what I mean? So because a picture's worth 1,000 words, and our elders, me being the prime minister, the ones who came before me have left artifacts, signs, and symbols here for when we were ready to raise our vibration back up, where we can put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Right.
So the first studying is going to have to be with signs and symbols. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I say that because
yes.
language is fleeting. Listen, we didn't have
Yo. Talk that
right?
talk dot. Talk that talk dot. Yeah.
Right. So we knew we didn't have to speak. Speaking was with verbal was a low vibration thing. When we sunk to the point where I had to, or we were telepathic in the way we did things. So in understanding that we got to get back to when we see a symbol, and that symbol, whether it's read forward, backwards, up, or down, could have different meanings. And this is where, as an MC, the double and triple entendre comes in, right?
Right.
So, and this is a part of the initiate. We can get to a point in the song where I say it's time to get that cheddar. And for the uninitiated, he think I'm talking about variations of cheese.
Right. Right.
The initiate understands, let's get that bread.
Right.
And then that's another lead. What do you mean get that bread? Are we talking dough or are we talking dough? So This is where understanding how you read one thing one way is going to give you one answer. How you read it another way is going to give you another answer. And we have the ability, because we read sort of like in 360. So the linear way that Western society has us reading in one way so that we can come to a determination that they want has shut down our ability to have the omnipresence to read in 360, if that makes sense. So getting back to the signs and symbols of things is going to give us the ability to begin to train newbies what this means, because the language, especially English, is such a prison language and a low vibration language that it locks us into a specific frequency. Now, if you're talking Arabic and a few of the other ones, they still have some of the potency of, and that's why when like Arabic is spoken so much from the throat, because that's activating throat chakra energy. It's so much that goes into speaking. Not word. And it sounds disturbing to some people, but it's getting into that throat chakra and bringing the vibratory frequency of those words so that you can open up doors and dimensions. We'll save that for a little bit later on.
Right.
So, now, but with that being said, you got to understand, when the initiates who are not amongst us see and hear hip hop, they're not just hearing a bunch of words of jibbity jabbity. They're hearing the potential for us to figure out what the hell abracadabra means, in these languages. So when we start spitting rhymes, kicking this, the more complex the rhyme patterns become, the more intricate the geometrical patterns which formulate the words come out. We're starting to figure it out whether we know it or not. How about that?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
And that's why hip hop, in its purest form, if left alone, is so important. That's why they doubled it down and gave you rap music to keep it really simple, really A-B,
Right.
really drop a bid, got the pants to the ground.
Yeah.
That's because they want to slow the vibratory frequency down and don't want us to begin to figure out through language. We can create a whole other language that cracks open codes and help us figure this thing out. So back to the original. I'm the prime minister. I'm going to start with signs, symbols, and teach you how to read again in 360. And then we're going to move, up the ladder from there, dealing with, earth, air, fire, water, energies. I'm going to teach you about your interdimensional history, like you came here, you know what I mean, to experience something, and you're far greater. You can never die. So I got to show you and prove to you that you're immortal. That in this physical body.
Yo.
So that's where I
sign me up. Sign me up. Sign me up for that. Sign me up for that all day long. I know that's going to be nothing but juice. Matter of fact, speaking of signs and symbols, that's what we starting at. So one of the things. Okay, go ahead. You know how I get. Yeah.
Just before we get deep, I'm gonna get a little bit more shallow first.
Okay.
This, you touched on it, Black Dot, about the difference between rap and hip hop. Could you just go ahead and just knock that out real quick?
Yeah. Hip hop is what we know. It's all of the elements. You know what I'm saying? The graffiti, which is the word. You know what I'm saying? It's the written word. The b-boy, b-girl, which is words using the body. Because we spoke a language using our bodies. We could form geometrical patterns with our body. That's where the song "Walk Like an Egyptian" comes. You know what I mean? And even in urban times, because I told you things, we adjust these principles based on the environment that they're in. Even if you slow dancing with a sister, that is a form of communication.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And back in the days, them slow jams was 7 minutes long, fam.
Yes, sir.
So in the slow dance, there was earth, air, fire, and water, meaning by me connecting my body, pressing my body up against yours, you feel that. You feel my energy. You feel what I'm doing. Me breathing down your neck, in your ear, telling you I love you. That's that air, right? Your Kundalini rising a little bit and mine rising. That's the fire. And in 7 minutes, if she ain't wet from what you dropped, that's your water, earth, air, fire, water. Then, this is the urban alchemy dances that we do. And so you had 7 minutes to get that job done. If you couldn't get that job done in 7 minutes in my era, it was a wrap. You know what I mean? So I say all of that to say, based on the environment we in, we use everything at our disposal. So hip hop is the spoken word or the written word in graffiti, the expressed word through dance. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
The actual oracle, you know what I'm saying, which became the MC.
Yes.
And the drum, because the drum is a language in itself. It's actually the first heartbeat, or the first, because your heartbeat is the first drum.
Yes, sir.
On how fast the drum is moving, how slow, how intricate, how much bass bottom. These are all languages. So hip hop, in its primary sense, is a language of different components of earth, air, fire, and water, because the graffiti writer, I attribute that to earth, since you put those graffiti images on substance.
Yes.
Sound travels through air. So the drummer or the DJ, that's your air element, Your body is composed of over 70% water.
Yes.
So that's your water element. And MCs are talking about spitting fire. You know what I'm saying? I got these fire, so you're earth, air, fire, water within hip hop. Rap became the one piece that they peeled off, keeping the verbal aspect and putting that above all the other elements. And if you're an alchemist and you missing some of your ingredients, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then there's no way you're going to be able to crack the code to create what it is you're trying to create in the grand scheme of things. So rap music became the slowed down version of what an MC would spit. MC began to get more intricate. By 1988, you had the God Rakim saying, keep staring, soon you suddenly see a star. You better follow it because it's the R. Follow me around. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Moving the mindset. Let's not get into Big Daddy Kane's intricate rhyme play. And so even in 1988, we were beginning to, and if that became a reference point for a 12-year-old child who's studying Rakim, can you imagine if left alone where we would be? If left alone,
man, God,
no. So
man,
the occultists
I came through the door. I said it before, man.
The occultists around us, who are not of our best interests, took notice to this because it's their job to recognize things of the occult nature because they're trained to see it, even if we're not. Right. They recognize that this was deeper than just some beats and rhymes. How did the hell did they create this out of thin air to begin with? Right. You know what I'm saying? Making a movement. And so they became the gatekeepers by creating all these record companies and determining from that point on what they would accept. So we had gangster rap, and then we had a slowed down version of so-and-so to the point where the rap song is easier for white people to understand.
Right.
I mean, because they couldn't understand all of that intricate stuff.
Right.
And, it made it more common because they were only into it for two reasons: killing the spiritual energy and selling records. Right. I can't sell Rob's beats. I can't sell J Electronica to everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I can sell, that happy rap, that's slowed down that your mother can dance to.
Right.
And this and that. So that's what rap music became. And everybody can digest it. Hip hop is for the initiates, especially nowadays. You know what I mean? Right. So hip hop for the initiates, the ones who understand, as KRS-One put it, higher infinite power healing our people. You know what I mean? And rap is for those who just really want to be entertained.
Hold on, say that one more time. Say that one more time. Break down that abbreviation one more time.
KRS-One said hip hop is higher infinite power healing our people.
Boy, that's
higher infinite power healing our people.
Listen, he had so many other acronyms in this one song he did with Marley Marl called hip hop. It's so amazing what a grandmaster teacher and elder he is.
Yes, he is, man. The gospel of hip hop is something that's
colossal.
Man, listen, yo, listen. That changed my life, yo. That gospel of hip hop is everything. Matter of fact, because I want to show and prove how much H.O.M.E is on point. So watch this, right? Metaphysically speaking, this is our 4th season, right? So the number 4 in hip hop, especially the MC, as you say, he's the oracle. So on our 4th season, the 4th, now how does I'm not a recording artist, but I know that 4 beat, that 4 count is what pretty much every artist utilizes. Can you please break down the significance of the number 4, and why it's so important in connection to hip hop?
I'm also going to connect it because when you deal with supreme mathematics from the gods and earth, 4 represents culture.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir.
Culture of freedom.
Yes, sir.
Even in that understanding, and 4 represents that square. You know what I mean? Those 4 sides, whatever the case may be. And 4 times 4 or 4 squared is 16. And 16 is why we spit 16 bars. So, and in 16, we get 1 and 7, which is God. And the way you free yourself out of the square is by manifesting your godhood. So that's why MC spits metaphors, as I call them. If he's really great, meta, F-O-U-R-S. So
Metaphor.
All right. So
that talk that. Yeah.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? This is how this all equates into what MCing is. You know what I'm saying? 4/4 beat. The resonance of 44 that Blue Pill talks about.
Yes. Shout out to
You
Blue
know
Pill.
what I'm saying? Oh, you know, you got to toss that in there and understand that 4 and 4 is 8, and that's infinite. So this thing really just goes on and on and on of what a master MC's duty job is if he or she is in alignment with its true purpose.
Wow. Beautiful. 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 You know, we're supposed to go to break right now, but it's just like, man, it's man, God, I don't want to go to break.
Just getting started.
We just you know what? Before we go to break, because I wanna close this chamber out with entire like my man Cannabis said. We had Cannabis on the show last season, and he really gave a master class on what it is to be an MC. So yeah, man. Shout out to our brother, man, our beloved brother Cannabis, man. One of the things that you said was about coming through as a newbie, as an initiate, is understanding the symbols. On your book cover for Urban Culture Decoded, it's symbol heavy. I mean, I'm looking at it and just using my mind. It's so much going on. One of the things I look at is the fire escape. So now when you're dealing with alchemy, you're dealing with fire, right? You're dealing with refinement. So you got the fire escapes heavy in the background. So I know there's a lot being tied up here. Who did this artwork? And I'm really curious as to why because you got the Janame African symbol on here. You got cassette tapes. It's a lot going on in this Urban Culture Decoded cover. A critical analyst into the physical, mental, and spiritual state of a new generation. I know we can't get into every single aspect and component of this beautiful artwork, but you got the elephant in the middle of the would you say that again, God? What you say?
He's got 4 tusks, man. He's got.
Oh yeah, man. Okay, and he's holding. He got a rope with the boom box hanging from his tusk. It's a lot going on. What's being communicated here, especially utilizing the elephant? What are you communicating with this cover? Who did the cover, and what's going on there?
A brother out of Cali did the cover for me, and let me get his name right because he does certain things for me. Okay. I don't want to blow that. Rasta L, I call him. You know what I'm saying? So he's
shout out to Rasta L,
artist.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And the elephant represents remembrance. So when you see an elephant coming through in the urban environment, and it also represents, it's a picture that's sort of like Hannibal at the top.
At the top, okay.
The image, you know, Hannibal came through foreign lands on elephant and destroyed shit. So the mirror is a reflection because he's actually inside of a mirror so that you can remember who you are, the warrior. Yeah. And of course, the elephant coming through this foreign land is going to pick up not necessarily debris, but be, you know, the graffiti and all the things. These are the archetype symbols that the elephant has picked up along the way, you know, protruding through our urban environment. You got your stinkers, your microphone, all of the elements of hip hop. Of course, on the outside, I put the cassette tapes around and the records because of an analog time. You know what I mean?
Yes, analog, yes.
But that analog was critical because the sound was different. You know what I'm saying? In analog, and people thought when we went digital, it was great. It wasn't. It only allowed you to skip from song to song. But digital is what sound would sound like if it was really sound. It's a reference point of goddamn sound. It's not actual sound. And that became a part of that process. And, you know, so that's the gist, of course, some of the ancient symbols on or around it, the gold, So that was the offering that I wanted to present. Now I'm going to change this cover.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna change it because a lot of times the archetype symbols are too advanced for the people who I'm trying to target with this book. So this is for parents, teachers, and mentors, who are dealing with urban city children. But if you're a parent, a teacher, an educator, and you see this cover and you're not an initiate into the higher sciences, you're going to put the book back on the shelf. So I have to create not necessarily a lower vibration, but a more general vibration of the cover, so that makes it more inviting for those who are in position to teach children or to recognize how to deal with children and of this day and time. So I don't want to create something, because this is a service to others. This book is to help you serve the community you're in. But if I don't do the right thing and get you to pick the book up to go under the study, then I've missed my point.
Wow.
And sometimes, and this is just from an artist standpoint, we do art for ourselves. I'm like, this cover was for me. You know what I mean?
Facts. But it was for us, man. It was for us.
Man. Love it, though, man. I love it.
When you're selling something, you got to think about the audience you're trying to serve.
Right.
So a lot of times we get too deep in some of these covers and stuff, and then we go, wow, how come aren't so-and-so or this people didn't pick it up? It's because it was vibrating 1, 2, 3 frequencies above their general understanding. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to ever speak over people's head with my art, with my words, with my music, with my presence.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That means I haven't done my job. If I do that, then what's the point? Sure, I can get people in the conscious community to buy the book.
Right.
And then what? You know what I mean? Sure. And most of them already know this information.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So it becomes a pissing contest. Well, I knew that and this and that, but then I didn't do my job. I want you to say, I didn't know that.
Right.
Wow. Or I'm an educator and I got a whole bunch of children in front of me, and I can tell that they're different. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have the keys and tools to reach them, and they can sense that I'm of a different vibration, and the rest is history. They just tune you out.
Man, understood, my brother. Understood. I'm not even gonna offer no conjecture to that. I'm gonna just follow your lead, Prime Minister, on that. But the cover is beautiful, is dope, and I think that what I take away from it is love, brother. Like, that's the vibration that I get when I look at the cover and I decode it. I get a brother who loves his people, man. And so whatever you do, you got our support on that. So on that note, we're gonna take a break. Yo, you know what? I'm feeling so generous today. And I'm feeling so good that I think we should play our remix to our anthem. Now we got an anthem.
Oh yeah.
And we got a remix with Stick of Dead Prayers that's never been heard publicly before. And I would love for Black Dot to give us his honest and most sincere feedback on our anthem, on the lyrical wordplay, the beat, the energy of it. And, that'll just, really help us out here at H.O.M.E. So we're going to take a small break. And when we come back, we're going to showcase our remix to the H.O.M.E. anthem. So stay tuned.
Oh, it's going to be nice.
Sure.